it's in the middle of December now, and we are reaching to episode 80 of Double Cross Anime. We only 1 week away from the final week of the 4 seasons. So this week we're gonna have the episodes 11 of basically everything. Pista, Hoshai Nushura, and Chihara and episode 12 of Blade of the Immortals, and then the next batch of 3 episodes of And for the Ice. So I'm Mario,
And
and
I'm
with me
Whooper.
is Whooper.
And we got the names right this week. Let's have a round
No,
of applause
yep,
for
we
ourselves.
we swap ourselves last week.
We
All
did,
right,
but we're good this time.
all right. Let's go. Let's pick the show that I think ended this week,
The show that what
like
this week?
and that ended their first half this week.
Ah, yes.
Blade of the Immortals.
Yep.
All right, you just mentioned that you don't feel it. It's ended the whole first half act.
Well, I
Did
don't
you?
think I said. I don't think I said that much.
All right.
But that's kind of how I feel about it. I mean, mostly what I feel about this episode is that it's extremely packed.
Condensed. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, I've felt that about the show in some previous episodes. Like, this show very much
Mm-hmm.
operates in two modes. It has some of the like spotlight episodes that just focus on one character or maybe just a small handful, and those
Yep.
are like for example episode 9 with Rin,
Yep.
telling the story in order to cross the gate. Forget, that episode was great. I think a lot of people love that one. Then you have episodes like uh, this one. They're much more
Mm-hmm.
story oriented and follow a host of characters in different locations and run the risk of feeling too scattered uh, and compressed. But until this episode, I haven't felt that to be like a huge problem. But this one, I thought was a mess. Like, I thought it was bad.
Right. All right.
How about you?
I really like this episode actually.
Really?
Like,
Okay, awesome.
yep, because like I feel like all these main characters, main in practice, uh, reappear in this episode 12. We see the girl from back from episode 3. We see like Anosu, um, Mangetsu. We see Rin, and we see like all the main characters there, and in addition to that, like the relationship between Rin and Anosu like have come into something more complex. I That's not all I wish for actually. So I like the episodes.
Yeah, but it's true that her relationship with Kagehisa or Anotsu, whatever you want to call him, it's
Mm.
true that it develops into something much more complicated, but you don't even really get to see that happen.
Yeah.
You like it.
Oh,
How much time do you think passes over the course of this episode? Like, it could be months, honestly.
it could yeah, it could be few days, it could be month. That's right.
Yeah, and we have no way of knowing, so it kind of feels as though we don't get a sense of how their relationship changes. I mean, we know the
Yeah.
starting point and we know the end point, but there's
Right.
there's not nearly enough
Well,
points on the graph, so to speak, in the middle.
yeah. Well, instead of time though, we see like how Amisu, like he got injury, and it getting worse to the point that like sometimes he can't even defend himself. So sometimes he would ask Rin like why didn't Rin kill him then? So I think like the emotional arc is still there. Uh, and the way that Rin refused to like kill him right away is say something about her characters.
Yeah, I mean, I just have the opposite take.
Right.
Um, I understand that her refusal to kill him, it indicates that she has her own code of revenge, her own version of revenge that she wants to adhere to. You know, and she's not the sort of person who will kill a wounded or sick uh, man. You know, she doesn't think it's fair, and it's clear that her journey of revenge is, um, you know, it's not just to make her feel better. You know, I'm sure she's searching for something else, which is why even though she gets the opportunity to kill Kagehisa, um, you know, she doesn't do it because she wants it to be on very specific terms.
Mhm.
So I understand all that. However, um, like the scene in the cave, for example, it's near the start of the episode where they're both taking
Right.
shelter from the rain. Um, the conversation, like all the questions that he asks her are so blunt, and
Hmm.
she like her so she pulls out her knives, which she calls her golden bugs, I think, and she's about
Right.
to attack him. You know,
Yep.
first of all, she cries, you know, because she cries in like many scenes. So he asks her some probing questions about like what's she even doing beyond the gate, blah blah blah. So she cries because he's questioning her purpose and she's feeling lost and she's probably hungry and tired and stuff. So then he continues on and he pushes her to a point where she like pulls out the knives and is about to attack him.
Yep.
And he says, "Don't do that."
Don't.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she's like, "Oh, well, okay, I guess I better not cuz he said not to." Like I don't know. And then she gets emotional again. She begins to cry a second time after he speaks to her a little more. Like it just seems to me, given the different phases that conversation goes through,
Yep.
that there were parts that were omitted or like abbreviated. We're not getting the whole thing. And that's the feeling that I have
Mhm.
about the their story overall, because
Right.
she has an opportunity to kill him in the cave, and then the next time we see them together, um well, actually the next time is Makie appears in that village, you know, the woman who's bound her hand together.
Oh, you're right. Right. Right.
But the scene after that, there's like four guys who are hunting Anotsu
Yep.
Kagehisa, and Rin has another opportunity to kill him, you know, or just to let him die.
Yep.
This is the same point that's been repeated just minutes earlier. Um, Now in the manga,
Wow. All right.
those two were probably like chapters and chapters apart, you know.
Yep.
So it didn't feel as though the show were kind of looping around to the same idea that it had just
All right.
previously.
Right. I would beg to different you on that point, because I think like the first one where she trying to kill him and he said like don't do that. It's more like of a warning, because it just it's more like if she take another step ahead, he would kill her.
Yeah,
So that's like a threat from him. So it's not like he being helpless. That like Green want to take that as an opportunity, but stop right there. It's more like, yeah, a threat. So
yeah.
so 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 yeah, so afterwards when she happened to have an opportunity, she decided not to do that. So that's like a a step up. It's like a development, so to speak.
I suppose, but wouldn't you say that a development like that ought to have a little more time to be, I don't know, ramped up
Sinking.
to,
Yeah,
for us to
right.
see the evidence of the change in the character before they make that pivotal decision?
Yep, yep. Wow. I think that is like by design, because this is the show where we pretty much just see like the most important point. It's not like the whole picture, so like we actually have to fill the gap. Like we and I actually think that as like the uh work in its benefit more than like confusing and making a mess. So I think that it's like the approach that is it a bit hit or miss, but I like that so far.
I mean, I would say I would agree with you overall where the show is
Right.
concerned. Just
Yeah.
this episode felt like a greatest hits compilation
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
me.
Yep. Yep.
There's no deep cuts here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if Mugen no Junin were like a musical artist, like a band, I would feel as though I
Right.
know almost nothing about them. I would just be hearing songs that have already played on the radio.
Yep. All right. Um, what I don't like about the episodes is like some of the um like more obvious, like when they tackle some of the characters, like when first Anosu see Makia, for example, he asked her some of like very obvious questions. Like I don't even know why she had to cut her hands, and
What was the deal
she
with that?
yeah, she said like I think what that meant is that she doesn't want to, like to take up the weapon anymore. So she
Oh, dude, I didn't even make that connection. That must be why she did that to her hand.
Yeah, but the thing is, like 5 minutes later, we see her taking up the weapon in order to kill other guys. So I don't feel I don't feel all the experience you have to see like all the things you have to experience before that.
Um, huh?
I all right. It's more like she doesn't want to take up the weapon, so she had to hurt her hands. She had to
Yeah, yeah. She takes a thread and she like runs it through her hand to bind it like into a ball.
right.
You
And
can
just like 5 minutes afterwards, we see her like taking the weapon again, and like this the injury was nothing to her. So
Yeah,
I mean like it's a bit too quick. So I'm having that issue like the way that you have having the issue with Dream
yeah.
regarding
I
killing
see.
Anosu's.
I see. Dude, what was up with the sex scene between Anotsu and Makie? It was very strange.
It
I
was
mean, a lot of it was positioned vertically, like the characters were positioned vertically, so we were
yeah.
meant to assume that they were still standing. We don't see any actual like shedding of clothing.
Yep.
Um, it's it,
It's a
it doesn't
quick.
position the character in like a in a the characters in a specific place in the building. It just kind of like I just thought it was very strangely directed, and the scene immediately afterwards where Rin is sitting outside while Maki is making
Blushing.
those noises,
Yep.
which were not particularly like I didn't even think the noises that she was making were particularly like
Erotic.
well no, that's not what I want to say. Like they didn't particularly remind me of sounds that someone makes during coitus. Like they didn't it I, maybe the performance from the voice actress was just bad, or like I
or
don't know.
or maybe it's just it's like no affection. Maybe it's more the pain.
Maybe that was the idea, is that like the wounds that she's inflicted on her hand are still fresh.
Yep. Hmm.
Just I don't know. I thought that
Yep.
whole scene was pretty strange on the whole,
Right.
or I should say overall, because
Hmm.
Kagehisu's visit, like he encounters her so abruptly, and then the way that they transition from like catching up with one another, or him like inquiring what have you been doing, or like
Yep.
what's going on with you, and then all the way they transition into sex is
Yep.
I just thought it was strange.
Right. And the reason I mentioned that some of the part I feel obvious is another scene where remember where Green asked Machi to kill up this guy who attacked Anosus.
Oh yeah, kill everyone here. It's
Yeah,
like Code
and
Geass level.
yeah, that's right. And Manji asked her again, like, why you want to kill these people? And she was saying something like really obvious, like, I don't know what I'm thinking.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
I just
stupid,
feeling that right
so
now.
I say things that I can't take back. That's what you said. I'm an
Yeah,
idiot, so I say things that I can't take back.
yeah. So I just feel that that was completely off the mark.
Well, the dramatic nature of the scene is like suddenly thrust upon us. You know, there's
Right.
the setup is clear. Like Anotsu he's ill. He's in danger. He can't really defend himself. At least
Yep.
we're led to believe that that's the case. And Rin is taken hostage by this group of guys. So it's like, the situation's clear. He's in peril. Obviously, the show needs to get him out of this situation somehow. So what does it do? Not only does Manji show up, but Magatsu and Makie show
Yep.
up, like
Yep.
seemingly from nowhere. They just kind of stroll on over to the beach or wherever they were, and suddenly the gang's all here.
Yep.
Like I
Yep.
thought, I don't know. Like I just wasn't a fan. Also, I thought Amazon subs for this episode were especially bad.
Right.
Like the episode ending speech that Rin gives to Anotsu,
Yep.
where she says that he should pursue his ideals as a like the leader of a sword school in until their natural conclusion, so that he's at full strength, so that she can
And
come and kill him. Like when she was expressing all that, dude, I can't even recall how Amazon phrased it
right.
or what their sub said, but it was not good. Good lord.
They have been doing really bad job with the subtitle for the show, especially. I remember like there was a few episodes ago when she mentioned about when they do the sub about Green going past the gate and the the wife gave her back some money, some of
Yeah.
gold coins, and that was like mistranslated like completely.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you remember that part?
I do remember that part, and I remember being confused about.
Yeah. So what is said on the sub was that she took some money from Rind and say sorry and sorry because she took some of the money like 5 gold coins or something.
I don't remember her apologizing.
I think she did like apologize and said like my husband would use some of that money, but like in reality it was that Green paid them for like 20 gold coins and she actually give back to Green like 10 gold, half of it.
No, I don't think that's an issue with the translation. I think
Right.
I think that that's just something that we're meant to infer, because she says she's going to take 10 as payment, even though earlier in the episode Rin said that she would give her 21, which is how many she had.
All right. All right.
I don't
Huh.
think there was an issue with the translation there.
Because I was confused then. I was not really sure what she meant to read at the point.
Well,
But I gonna look at
the
that.
fact that she only takes 10 is meant to be like, on one
Yep.
hand you could interpret it as a symbol of her kindness, that she doesn't take all the money that Rin promised her.
Right.
On the other, you could take that note that she gives to her as kind of like blindsiding Rin, that the money was gone at all, because she didn't like hand it to her. She just took it. So I think that's like a matter of interpretation, but I don't know if it was poorly translated or not. I mean, maybe
Right.
it was. I've noticed plenty of stilted language in the subs for the series, and I mean, it's a problem that Vinland Saga has as well, because they're both Amazon originals.
That is a shame. All right, Amazon. Now I just go for fan sub.
Well, I don't think either of these series are being fan subbed. I mean, not that many series get fan subs, because everything gets
That's
picked
right.
up by or almost everything gets picked up by an official source, and in 2019.
Alright, so halfway point, how you feel about Blood of the Immortals? And do you think that it have a chance of, still be in our vlogging, covering next seasons?
I mean, I've actually already picked my 10 series that I want to put forward for consideration for winter, and this is one of
Right.
them.
Yep.
So,
Right.
but will it actually like pass the test? I don't know. It just depends on the strength of the one episode that we choose to look at.
Yeah,
Uh, I
that's right.
guess. So that if it's one of the standalone character ones, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, if it's not, and if it's something like that, I mean, you said you really liked this episode, so
Yep.
I mean,
That's
maybe
right.
you'll vote it in either way. I don't know.
I actually think that it is like a great conclusion for the first act. So
Damn.
like,
Okay.
yep. I like
Nice.
it.
Good.
All right.
I mean, it's certainly a conclusion. A bunch of the characters who we followed up until this point all end up in the same location, and they kill a bunch of random no-name dudes who don't matter.
Yeah.
Including one who looked like a delinquent. Did you notice his hairstyle, like
Yep.
the dyed hair and the kind of mullet and
Yep.
Yep.
That he's like the ancestor of delinquent. So he's important.
Well,
Maybe he's
no,
something
he
important.
can't be anybody's ancestor. He just got killed. I mean,
Oh,
maybe he had a child before that.
yep. All right. I think we can move to another show. Let's go with Vista,
All right, episode 11.
episode 11. So I'm not sure how the show gonna end it with like 12 episodes, but like next the next one.
It'll just finish the first arc,
Right.
whatever that is, because I haven't read the manga.
Right. So Legacy Self Haru, they go into the love hotel. They nearly make love. The wolf and the rabbit.
Yeah. Yep. That's a pretty quick summary there.
That's the whole plot point of yep. All right. Before that, do you think that Louise is die? Is being killed?
No, I'm my guess is that the panda is going to save him.
Oh, right.
Cuz
All
isn't
right.
the panda still like hanging around there?
I have no idea. We don't see him anymore.
Right, we don't see him, so he could theoretically be anywhere. Like the show could pull him out of its ass at
That's
any
right.
moment. Um, yeah, but Louis does accept death. In
He
the last
does.
scene, like he says to them, "Just leave only my antlers behind." And he even refers to himself by his branding, or whatever you want to call it, his
Mhm. Yep.
just his item number, the code that was given to him
Mhm.
um, as a child when he was in that holding facility to be eaten by carnivores. Like
Right.
him referring to himself that way kind of indicates that he's given up on his autonomy and his individuality. He's ready to just be consumed. But we don't see him die, so he's probably alive. I mean, it was the same with the head of the Leo group or the Shinsengumi.
Yep.
We don't see Louis. I thought we saw Legacy like rip his throat out, but he says, "Oh, he missed
Yeah.
my vitals on purpose." That was extremely shonen.
Yep. But to think that actually Legacy, like when he go berserk, he still have a part of him to not really kill the lion leaders.
I mean, yeah, the show has taken that route all this time, and I mean,
Yep.
it did this. It's gonna do the same thing in the
All
finale.
right.
Like
All right. All right.
he's not gonna eat Haru. I'm telling you that right now. I'd
Okay.
bet any amount of money that he is not gonna eat Haru.
Not now though, because the manga is continue. I think like in the end of the manga, though, he gonna eat Haru.
Oh, you're changing your tune a little bit here. Because
No, not.
before you were saying that it was gonna happen like
I
in
hope
the
this
show.
happened. I hope it happened in this corner, so like next one. But in regard to like the manga is still continuing, and they maybe have like the second core.
Oh, maybe they will. I don't know.
So yeah, but this is like the time that Legoshi actually confessed to Haru that he was the one who attacked her before,
Yeah.
in which she she actually thought about that as well.
What do you
So there
mean?
was
She thought about
uh
that?
she
Oh yeah, she
she
already knew. Yeah, yeah.
she already knew,
She was
so she
pretending not
kind
to
of
know.
suspected. So it's no real surprise, basically.
Yeah, and I mean that scene wasn't a big surprise to me either. I think at one point somewhere during the season I said that she probably
Realize.
yeah, she probably realized it already. Um I mean, 'cause Legacy is not exactly the smoothest operator. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And it was just too convenient that she would have forgotten. Um so
Yep.
makes sense that she remembered. But the thing is, like, I don't know. She's been palling around with him, uh, hanging out, doing whatever, when she knows that he's the one who wanted to eat her. And I mean, perhaps that goes back to her. At one point earlier in the season, she said that she just wanted everything to be over with. Like, she was. Do you remember this? Like, she said she didn't want to
Yep.
bother, like, living anymore or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't think the series has done a very good job of exploring that.
Maybe not now.
What do you mean? Like, she's changed your mind? Or
Like she want to die. You say she's ready to die. Is that what you mean?
well, earlier in this season, there was a scene where she was reflecting on the fact that she had been attacked by a carnivore who at that point she
Right.
didn't know the identity of, and
Yep.
she was remembering that experience, and she was thinking to herself like, oh, it's finally my time. We'll just get it
Mm-hmm.
over with. Like, I'm so tired.
Yep. Yep.
um, like she was ready to accept death, and not just because she was so startled by what was happening, and she was
Right.
like, "Well, I guess I'm gonna die now." It was more like she'd just been going through life, um, being targeted, being a target of harassment by her peers, and feeling kind
Mm-hmm.
of cast out from the general goings on of Cherryton Academy. But I don't know. I don't think Haru's character is the number one issue that I have with this show. I think so. A lot of
Right.
stuff having to do with her is not very well realized, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think it's more because she unsure herself. So it's more like sometimes she accept that she is a weak character, that like she gonna die at any moment. She gonna be like a prey at any moment. But at another time she kind of get tired of that. She kind of doesn't want other people to think her like that. So it's kind of a mix between that. So I mean, like Haru Legacy has like the whole thing that we see so far had always been like they fighting with their own nature about who they really are, because they maybe they're not sure who they really are as well.
yeah, I mean, the show is talking a lot about the nature of the characters, like as different members of different species and belonging to different genders, and
Mm-hmm.
the question of who they are, what they are, is always on their minds. It's always informing what direction the story is going in. But now that I think about it, what was I going to say? I don't even remember. I was about to say something, but it was just more complaining about like an issue that I have with the series, so it doesn't really matter.
All right.
Uh, here's something that I thought was weird. The
Yep.
the elevator scene, or the escalate. I should say the escalator scene. Do you remember this?
Yep. The escalator to the adulthood.
Yeah. And he's thinking about, oh, like it was I who created this escalator by, by saving her. I created the opportunity for this escalator to take me all the way to Sex Town.
Did
Dude,
he
like,
actually say that?
no. No, but I mean that's essentially what was happening. Like the escalator was taking him to, I mean, you said adulthood, but he was going to lose his virginity. That's where the escalator was taking him. Um like what? I just thought that was so strange. Uh dude, I'm not really on board with all the weird metaphors.
All right. I thought that was charming. So
You thought that
I'm
was
alright with that.
charming?
But
Okay.
I mean like the idea of that is like something that we usually see in anime and manga, but like I think the visual like the CG in particular make it like awkward. So like the just the the even like legacy like body language, it's like unnatural. It's more awkward. So I think the visual work nicely to tell us like the awkwardness of legacy. So I think that's charming.
All right. Cool.
All right. um
Oh, yeah, Haru also says nothing you do tonight could be a mistake. I think that's what prompts him to visualize
yep,
himself on an escalator, like a very charming escalator.
yep,
Um,
yep.
Nothing you do tonight could be a mistake. Like she says that, but then once they actually get into the room and they're both sitting on the bed, he makes a move towards her. She like comes up with an excuse.
Yep.
Uh,
Man, she's not ready herself. I mean like he's still worth.
yeah. And then that's the big issue at the very end of the episode is that she she her instincts are telling her that this is wrong, you know.
Yeah.
But here's
Is that what she say? Like her instinct, just is that like she want to put her head into his mouth?
yeah,
Is that what she said?
that's where I'm a little bit lost. I mean, what subs did you watch? Rakushun?
Oh,
Is that the name of the
oh,
subgroup?
I actually want like different kind of supper every week.
Oh,
The latest sub that I watched is BJX.
okay. I don't think he's actually I think he might just be an encoder.
Alright.
But I doubt that he used the same subs. I doubt he used post-apocalyptic subs. Um, so
Usually I
my
would do Judas. Alright.
well, Judas is also just an encoder. He doesn't sub.
Oh, jeez, sorry. Alright, go on.
I think Judas probably uses Rakushun subs because they're the ones that are available first. Anyways, my subs were PAS, and they said that Haru wanted to climb into Legosie's mouth.
Alright.
Did your sub say anything to that effect?
See, yeah, they said like she want to put her head into his mouth.
Yeah, mine said the same thing. So I'm very confused by the end of the episode. Like,
Right.
if her instincts are
I
telling her that this is wrong, that she shouldn't get with a wolf, why would
Right.
and then she also puts up her arm to like puts it in between his jaws to like kind of shield herself, her head.
Right.
Why would
Yep.
she
Yep.
then say she wants to put her head into his like dude, I don't get it at all. Why
All
would she
right.
say that?
I think it's more like up attraction. So more like her instinct saying that like a rabbit should be eaten by the wolf, but like her mind would say like nah, it's dangerous. Just get out of it. So I think that is that kind of situation.
No, but that's the thing. Her instincts would be her first instinct as an animal would be like self-preservation. I mean, forget the animal thing. Like humans and even plants, different
Right. Right.
life forms of all kinds. Their first instinct is self-preservation.
Yep.
So her instinct wouldn't tell her to put her head in his mouth or to climb into his mouth, whatever. That doesn't make any sense at all. Like her instinct should be to get out from under him and run from the room.
Yeah, I think it's kind of both because like I think it's like it's more of the fairy tale things where like rabbit always get eaten by the wolf, so it's like what that's supposed to do. I mean it's just like a force, like his mind like the force that's like that that her head keep get thing into there. I'm just just
Huh?
a theory. Yeah. I mean like that was that what happened there in the anime.
I don't get it. Like
Like
what is
see,
what if fairy tales
all
have to
right,
do with what's going on in this scene?
all right. It's more like her head gets sucked into his mouth, not by any force, but like instinctively,
No,
and that
no. Her instincts would be telling her to run away from a gigantic wolf who wants to eat her.
well,
Ah!
but it all right. In that all right. It's just how rabbit work. I think.
No,
Let's just
if
leave it like that.
if this is how rabbits work, then I am glad I'm not a rabbit. I'm glad I'm an apex predator human being who can go to the supermarket and eat whatever animal I want.
All right. All right.
I thought
uh,
this episode was so confusing and
oh my.
uncomfortable, and
Yeah, yeah.
very glad I did not watch this in public. Good
All
lord.
right. I do think that it's supposed to be like confusion between like themselves, so they don't even know that what they're feeling and what they want basically.
Yeah, but just because a character is confused or conflicted doesn't mean that the show's presentation should be confusing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Like you
yep.
can very clearly depict the fractured mental state of a character through
Yep.
direction. And I think there was one really good shot in this episode when you know how there are mirrors in the room.
Yep.
You
Reflect
see.
the first time they met each other as well.
Yes, I think that was probably my favorite shot of the show so far. I thought that was
Right.
really brilliant, especially because mirrors, like, given the way that mirrors are used as symbols in film most of the time, that
Yep.
they reflect like your true self, you know, what you might be really feeling or thinking. Um,
Mhm.
the mirror was reflecting like they're reflecting the true state of their relationship.
Mhm.
Um, you know, so when I saw that, I was like, oh damn! Not only does that look cool, it also has major implications for uh, the show, like commenting on the two characters and where they're at in terms of their relationship.
And then that happened.
Yeah, and then all the other stuff happens where she wants to climb into his mouth and blah blah blah.
All right.
But hey, I thought that shot was cool.
Let's move on to the next show then.
Okay, damn, we're like 40 minutes into this, and we already spent a bunch of time before the podcast talking about other stuff.
Right.
Gotta
Let's go with
hurry.
Yep. Let's go with Hoshia no Shora.
All right, yeah, this episode was bad. We can do Chihaya Furu now.
Right. I think they do speed up a lot of their matches.
Yeah, this was a very
Agree.
tennis episode.
That's right. And imagine that they spent the whole like the whole episodes last week for like all the members just to lose, and then this one just like they speed up like 3 or 4 matches for our dude, for our main characters,
I can't
Mikey
remember.
and Toma.
One of us predicted that they were going to win, and one said they were going to lose. I think I
Yep.
was the one who said they were going to lose.
Yeah, you said that because you said like they only like 2 episodes left, so maybe they lose and they have to deal with the whole disbanding the club.
What a fool I was. I shouldn't have overestimated this show. We just get a
You
regular sports
no no
anime
no.
episode.
You are not underestimate the show. You are underestimate Mikey talent.
Yeah, well, I mean, how could I? Honestly, he's obviously he's clearly the golden boy. He's a genius savant. human being extraordinaire, athlete
Hold on,
supreme,
like
future Olympian.
hold on. So how many months that he playing that soft tennis now? Is that 1 month or 3 months?
I don't know how many months it's been. I'm pretty sure it's been something like 3 months that the show has
Uh,
covered so
I
far.
I I'm pretty sure that OG, the the guy, the the king guy. Remember
You
the
cut out for a
prince, the
second,
prince guy.
but I heard you talking about the who's the prince again? I'm blogging the show and I don't
The
even remember who people are.
all right. The prince is the guy who one of the spoiled guy from another school who like
Oh, the guy in the
Mikey
red
too.
shirt.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
He actually said something. He specifically said like how many months that Mikey have been playing.
I think I remember him saying
It,
something about that. Yeah, but I don't remember what the number was.
yeah,
The
yeah.
point is that it hasn't been very
Uh,
long, and he's a super genius, talented guy.
that's right. And now they're playing like the twins, which is like the best couple.
Even though they were only introduced in the previous episode,
That's right.
and just barely.
All right. So, do you think that they're gonna win or lose this time?
I don't even care. Whatever I say is going to be wrong. So I'm going to say they're going to win,
All right.
which means they're going to lose, and the show will finally get back to what it was like originally positioning itself to be about, instead of
Yeah.
tennis.
I'm actually a bit sad that for the last few episodes, the show keep falling down for me. Not even the tennis. So the tennis part is predictable, but like Maki is like the superhuman, and the drama is like too much, too much drama, too much angst from the kids to their parents.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, because each of them has some sort of problem stemming from the abuse that they receive or the neglect that they get from their parents.
Right.
But like,
Yep.
I don't know, like at this point, I would almost prefer more of that. Like, give me more
Uh-huh.
angst. Uh,
Really? All
y-
right.
yeah, just so that you can continue to develop those plot threads and eventually tie them up at the end. Like at this rate, since we spent an entire episode or 2 episodes now,
Right.
just doing tennis stuff. Uh, a lot of these stories are not going to be resolved. Like Yuta's mom at the end of episode 8 being,
I don't think they're gonna mention that anymore.
yeah. How could you not? Like I don't understand that at all. And I mean, it doesn't have it. It's not as though the fact that it deals with LGBT themes means you have to wrap it up. Like
Yep.
just in general, how could you tell a story about a character whose relationship with his mother is so damaged that it ends on that note? It could be about anything at all, but if
Right.
it ends that way, how could you not like go back to it? How could you just leave it there?
Uh, if they're gonna push one of the conflict between the kids and their parents, I think that's gonna be now with the mom, who everyone considered to be the witch, right?
The witch is that?
Is
Oh
that
yeah,
is that
I think one of the kids says something. Does one of the? I mean, I know one of the kids says that now his mom is overbearing and stuff. Do they really call her a witch? Because if so, that's horrible.
they call her, they have some nickname for her. I think that was a witch.
Okay, damn. Well, I mean, she earned it, but that's still terrible.
I think they Yeah, I think if there is like something that there is any conflict that the show want to like continue on, I think that would be the one, because in this episode we see like she trying to call her several to call him several times, and he didn't even want to pick up.
Yeah, man, I thought that whole scene was laughable. Like,
Yeah,
he's getting the calls from his mom, and then he thinks to himself, "Man, this is really exciting. Maki and Toma are about to play. This is great. Tennis
and
is amazing. I can change." And then he just
right,
throws his phone into his equipment bag and zips it up, as
yeah, and
though
that
yeah
as though that is the way that he wanted that he changed. It's just ignoring the problems, basically.
yeah. pretty much. And I
He
mean,
hasn't
some
deal with that at all. Like,
some amount of that is necessary. Like you have to shut out the influence of people who are really really hurting your mental state if you want to improve. So,
yep,
it wasn't necessarily a bad thing that he did that in that moment. But I think the issue is that the show is giving that moment way too much credit. Like the way that he smiles and says like I know I can change. I'm gonna be better. To be honest, I
victory.
think that the show might consider that the ending of this story arc. Like,
Jeez.
I don't
All
think I
right.
agree that it's going to come back around because I don't think that it's going to give Now or his mom any more time on screen because she, after he puts his phone away and
Yep.
she looks at her phone, which has the image of him as a little kid as the screensaver, and she says, you know, you win this round, but don't forget you're my son and you belong to me.
Yep.
Like, I think that this show, in all its character-driven incompetence, thinks that that's the end of the story. I'm just
All right.
mad.
Yeah. Well, we only got like another episode left, and they have to deal with like whatever happened at in the match. And
Hopefully
then
they lose in
maybe
11 seconds.
I don't think so. And
I
then
mean,
maybe they're gonna deal with Maki's father if they're gonna deal with that at all.
he hasn't appeared in 6 episodes.
Yep. He only appeared like 2 times, 3 times.
3 times. Episodes 1, 4, and 5, he showed up. But now 6
Right.
through 11, that's 6 episodes, he hasn't popped up.
Yep. Gonna give time for the tennis. For
I don't
super
know.
genius tennis.
Like, I know what this show is about.
Yep.
It's about like 20 different things. It's not as though I can say I don't know what this show is about. I just don't understand what its like unified kind of thesis statement is.
Well, I actually know. I actually the show is pretty focused on what it want to be. It just trying to put as many conflict as possible without like even attempting to resolve it.
Yeah,
I still think that there's gonna be a movie afterwards,
a movie.
a movie or the sequels up after this one because there is a lot of conflict that haven't been resolved or dealt with yet.
Yeah, but when it comes to like the production of a movie or a sequel or a second core or what have you,
Yep.
um, since this is an original anime, it doesn't have a source material to promote. It probably doesn't have a lot of merchandise to sell.
Yep.
It's just gonna be like the home video sales, the DVD or Blu-ray sales, I suppose,
Yep.
and what general buzz it is able to cause amongst
Right.
whoever's watching.
So
And I don't know
so
that
it
it's doing that.
I yeah, I think so as well. So I think that if not successful, this is the end of it. But I do feel like many of the conflicts feel just like the setup. So I think that with the directors Kazuki Akane, I think he gonna uh, he just set them up so that he gonna deal with that in later core. That's what I'm thinking
Okay, well,
because I don't think it's gonna is I don't think it's his intention to gonna end the story like keep them hanging up like that.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I doubt that we're ever going to hear anything about the show ever again after episode 12.
Yeah, maybe in the next episode, like at the end, they're gonna say like like the new season coming somewhere, like sometimes
All right, I'll bet you that that's not
in the
going to
next five
happen.
years.
I don't know what
All
we
right.
can bet, but
Yep.
I'm definitely hedging against that, or
Yep.
just betting against that, I should say.
All right. Yeah. So this is just for the pie for me, basically. Ocean Shora.
Yeah, my
Sadly.
post on it was very negative, and I was pretty happy with how it turned out too.
All right. You.
Anyways,
All right. Let's go with Chihafuru.
all right. This episode is actually good.
All
Or
right.
I thought
What?
it was, at least.
All right. All right. So what happened in these episodes? Uh,
There's multiple parts to it, I suppose. The beginning is more focused on Harada Sensei, and
yeah.
then it quickly transitions into Chihaya, like what Chihaya is doing to support him, as well as um, how she is affected by trying to take on Suo's mentality, um,
My
and
God.
realizing like just how strange and just how like talented and otherworldly he is. Like the
Yep.
scene, for example, the scene where she's watching his match on TV and she has the sheet in front of her that shows his card placements, and she is
Yep.
kind of meditating on the fact that he has 28 one-syllable cards,
Mm-hmm.
and like her hands sink through the floor, which suddenly becomes like water, and she starts to descend through that water. She starts to like drown in kind of a lake of her own
Yep.
mentality, I guess. Very reminiscent of Sangatsu,
Yep. Yep.
but
Yep.
just not as visually striking, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The first half is about Haruta Sensei and about Chihaya, and then the second half is about Inokuma, the mom. We get a lot of material
Okay.
about the mom.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Oh my
and that
God.
was that was
I
the
love
part
the
of the episode that I
characters.
really liked.
Yep. Yep. All right. At first, when Chihara goes in, when goes to have her with the study, and she talked to him with like the soft voice.
Yeah,
I didn't actually pick up on that she was intimidate show's style.
me
I was
neither.
like, what like was he sick? Like
I
I don't remember she being sick at all.
the reason for my confusion, and I guess yours as well, was because she starts imitating him in a very strange scene, which is very kind of removed from the rest of the episode, where she's studying
That's
with her
right.
cousin, who seems to have
Yep.
a crush on her, which is pretty
Yep.
weird.
Well.
But it's Japan, so I don't think they have
Yep.
laws against that sort of thing.
No. No.
I don't
No.
even know if all 50 states in America do, or what Australia's deal is with it. Um,
Uh,
but anyway,
woo- I
so
think it's
that's
illegal
the
here in Australia.
okay. Well, that's probably for the best. Um, so the fact that her behavior, like her imitation of Sumo, originates in that scene, is probably what caused the confusion, at least in part.
Yep. Yep.
But then, yeah, then it becomes clear, like in the Karuta Club, Nishida and what's his name, Sutomu,
Yep.
Desk Tomu, they call him. They're like, she's an idiot. She's imitating the Meijin Suo, and I was like, oh, why didn't I understand that before?
Yeah. Why did we pick it up before? All right, but it's it's funny. That's like she actually into method acting.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe she actually successful as an actress. Who knows?
maybe. I mean, she has the looks,
She
um,
knows.
but I don't know if she's got anything else necessary to. I mean, her sister is the
Right.
model, and I think her sister probably wants to be an actress. Maybe there's been an episode
Yep.
already where she was on like a J drama. Um,
Yep. 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 Yep.
and I mean, she and her sister could not be more different, except for the fact that they're
Right.
both gorgeous. So I don't know.
Yep. And yeah, and the second part is about the mother, which also is my favorite part of the episodes.
Yeah,
Uh, the moment that was striking to me is when she put down the to throw away the milk that she just pumped out.
same. I had the exact same reaction to that. I was like,
I
"Whoa, this is
Yeah, I had no idea what she was thinking though, but
yeah,
that was
I,
pretty raw.
yeah." It was. I mean, even if you don't know her exact reasoning or what
Right.
exactly it represents, symbolically, um, it's still a very powerful image.
That's right. That's
Um,
right.
I think that, I mean, on the one hand, she's just learned that Jin is sick. Her son is sick, so he probably won't need the milk. Because her husband says on the phone, like, I gave him 200 milliliters of milk, something like that.
Right.
He's not going to need all the milk that she produces just then. But I think, in addition to that
She
practice,
can,
what?
but she can just easily like store it. Like put that in the on the fridge. Save it for next time.
Yeah,
She doesn't need to be like throw them all away.
yeah, I suppose. But maybe they're running out of room in the fridge. Maybe there's so much of it in there.
Right. All
I don't
right.
know.
So, practical reasons.
I mean, I think, like on a different level, it might represent a desire for her to like throw away, um,
The
the part.
responsibility.
Well, kind of, but the milk is like kind of a representation of her age.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
like
Age.
the point
Yeah.
of her life that she's at, because she thinks about the fact that her competitors are like half her age. You
Yep.
know, she's 34, whereas Megumu is 18, the queen is 17.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so it could be that she's in throwing away the milk and pouring it down the
Correct.
toilet bowl of a train. You know,
Right.
there's not a much more like ignoble way that you could do
Yep.
that. Um,
Ooh.
she might be like trying to get rid of kind of a symbol of her motherhood, just her
Mhm.
the stage of life that she's at, which is advanced compared to her competitors.
Right.
Um,
But
which is
yeah,
pretty heavy stuff.
that's right. But whatever reason that she decided to do it, so like this is the first time where we see like her like vulnerable. Like usually we see like her cheerful side, and like she managed very well between like taking care of her children and like still playing at the things she love. This
Yeah.
time though we see like how like everything affect her and how she like even if she even like clumsily like doesn't know what to do, like when of the kid when her kid is crying and she accidentally
She spills the hot
uh
water.
yeah, spilled the hot water and she was frustrating as hell.
Yeah. So that's the beginning of or that's like one of the pivotal moments of a scene that comes later in the episode near the end.
Right.
Um, yeah, and she spills the hot water that she was going to use to prepare some milk, I
Milk.
guess, or some
Yep.
some baby formula. Maybe she was going to water it down with some hot
Yeah, yeah,
water,
baby formula. Yep.
make it easier for him to to drink it
Yep.
by mixing it with water. I don't know, but yeah, she spills it, and then the kicker is that her son, like
Yep.
her older son, starts to clean it up. So
Right.
he's assuming responsibility that she feels should be hers.
Yep.
And when she sees that,
She
she's probably
lost it.
feeling so horrible about herself that her 4 or 5 year old son, however old he is having to do this for her when she's the adult. She's supposed to be taking care of him.
Mhm.
Um, so and I mean, I'm sure that in that moment she contemplated just like leaving Karuta behind and being like, okay, you want to go to the park? Let's go to the park. You know,
Mhm.
like I can't take all of this, and it's not, you shouldn't have to deal with my mistakes or my just the complications of my life.
Yep.
So I'm sure she thought about just leaving
Right.
it all behind. But then
Yep.
Kana-chan's mom comes to the rescue,
Yep.
like an angel.
Yep.
Uh, I thought that was great.
Tell you exactly how to use the kimono.
Yeah,
That was really good. That was great. That was like one of the great moments in the Furu
yeah,
episode.
and what's especially great about it is that the moment is symbolic of like the I keep saying symbolism and symbolic, but it really was
Yep.
like this one in particular demonstrated like the unity between the two halves of Inokuma's character, like her competitive nature as a Karuto player
Yep.
and her motherhood. Like she doesn't have to take off the kimono if she had to take it off in order to feed Jin, that would be like conceding the competitive part of her, because the kimono it's like her uniform for Karuta.
Right, right, right.
But if she doesn't feed her son, then she's conceding the part of her that is a mother, and
Yep.
is a caretaker. But the kimono ends up being the perfect tool. Like it fulfills both roles.
Right.
It's what she's going to wear to play Karuta, and it also allows her to breastfeed. She doesn't
Yep.
have to compromise. Um, so it kind of brings the two halves of her character back together. When I thought about that, I was blown away. I was like, damn it.
Yep.
This is actually like very well, like quite well written.
Right.
Uh,
Yep.
so I thought that was nice. I mean, I think Inokuma's the best part of the season. Uh,
I think she's gonna win the match.
yeah, I mean, probably because Megumu has received almost no attention thus far,
Yeah.
like in the last few episodes.
Harada Sensei and Arata, though that's gonna be tricky. But yeah, looking forward to that match as well.
Who do you think is going to win, Harada or
Uh,
Arata?
Not really sure now, actually, because like all the attention we see this time is from Harada. I still think that 65-35%. So I would think that Arata gonna win. He has an edge to win.
Or you mean Arata, like the main character?
I mean like Arata. I think Arata has is more likely to win.
Yeah. I mean, I asked because their names actually sound very similar.
Arata
Um,
Harada or Arata. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say he's gonna win. Um,
Well, let's see if we was proved wrong or not.
yeah.
It still makes sense for me though that Harada Sensei win. It still makes sense to me that that this is gonna be his last tournaments. I think if he gonna win, if he gonna challenge the king, after this he gonna retire. That's what I think that his whole act gonna be if he gonna win.
Yeah. You could be right. That seems like a likely direction for the story to go in.
If he lose though, I think he still he will try again to be able to back to be the king,
Yeah.
to be a challenger of the king. So
Probably so,
it's
because I mean, the reason he's doing all this is because he actually competed for the Meijin title once before when he was younger,
oh he did. Oh
and he
wow,
and he
right. I didn't
lost.
know that.
Yeah, he made it all the way to like
Right,
not just this challenger round
right.
where he's competing for the right to play in the title match, but he actually made it to the title match once before, but he lost.
Yep.
Um, so
Wow.
this whole thing that he's going through is trying to like get back to that point where he once was. Um,
Wow.
yeah.
So
So I yeah,
yeah,
I could see him making it there. We'll
yep.
find out, I guess.
We find out. I don't think the next episode gonna cover them all though.
What do you mean? It's definitely
Uh,
gonna. Oh, you mean you think it's only gonna do part of the match? You don't think it's gonna finish the match?
yep. I think that's just like the beginning of the match.
I think it'll do the full thing. I think the Karuta matches in this season have been shorter than they were on
That
average in the last two.
that is right. And the next one gonna be like the end of the first course, so maybe they're gonna finish that. I'm not sure.
We'll see.
Yep. All right. Um,
Aim for the ace.
and for the ice, let's go.
Episode 16 to 18. How did you feel about these
Uh,
episodes?
I feel that the opponent's weapons, the tornado surf, and whatever the other thing is, it's just so stupid. In percent. Uh,
Continuous attack was the name.
continues. All right. I also feel that oh my god, this sounds oh god, how I love the stupidness of this house. Um, oh, Hiromi best friends, which is
Maki.
Maki, come to spy at the other school and then proceed to like just call them out. just like get angry at them for no reason.
That's not for no
Like
reason.
the
She has a reason for it.
just like the whole plot of her spying, and then like make her say no. That the whole thing was just so stupid. I'm like, I can't even describe.
I mean, I don't. I mean, there are plenty of things about this show that are dumb. Don't get me wrong. But the
Yeah.
reason that she reveals herself while she's spying on the two girls from Showa High
Yep.
is because their practice is specifically designed to gang up on one. I mean, the practice in general, playing with like 4 different tennis balls.
Yep.
That was dumb. There's something stupid for you. I don't know if that's like I know you're a tennis player. Is that something that
Yeah.
people actually do? Like they?
No, we don't.
Okay.
No.
I thought that was dumb. But the reason that she reveals herself is because their practice demonstrates that they're going to gang up on Hiromi.
Yep.
Uh,
So
so
why the
she's
day
like,
that she
no, don't do that. That's not fair.
yeah. So why the day that she need to yell like like in the middle of like spying.
Yeah, I mean, the show is very dramatic. You know, it's highly dramatic. All the characters pretty much express what they're thinking at all times.
Yep.
Either that, or they think very loudly to themselves, something that the show has already made obvious.
Yep.
Like for example, when Madame Butterfly says, "Oh, don't worry," like before the match when she's still mad at Hiromi, she says, "Oh, don't worry, I'm going to do my best." Hiromi thinks,
Right.
like, you hear her voice echo like a billion times, and Hiromi says, "Wait a minute, that means that she doesn't really think that I'm a good tennis player because she's only concerned about doing her best as an individual."
And she run away.
That was really dumb.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. That.
Who was
Oh
that?
my god. Sorry,
I
that just.
didn't get that. Could you
That's
try again?
my Siri.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Um. I. All right. I was thinking about another part of was all right, the surf, the tornado surf.
Yes, the special attacks themselves.
Yeah. Right. You remember how the tornado surf work?
She just kind of spins
Uh,
around.
it spin around that even like Hiromi and Ocho-sama at first couldn't hit the ball, but then when they decide to smash the surf, the ball just go high up. It just doesn't make any sense. Isn't consistent at all.
No, okay. So here, I'll explain the tornado serve with facts and logic. All right. So she rotates her body before the serve, so obviously that puts a little spin on it, and the ball corkscrews. It like moves in a spiral in a straight line over the net. Then
Right.
the centrifugal, gravity and the centrifugal force of the ball combine in order to bring it down to the ground. Now it bounces multiple times on the ground.
Right.
It does that as like 10 times probably in the episode. The ball bounces multiple times, and I mean once the ball has hit the ground twice, it's dead. So by all rights, each point should be over.
Right.
But a special exception is made for the tornado serve. Okay, so when you do a 360-degree rotation before your serve, that indicates to the umpire that the ball is allowed to hit the ground multiple times, and you have to wait for the ball to be volleyed. You have to wait for it to be returned. So it hits the ground multiple times, and because the ball has been rotating, it actually has inverse gravitational properties. So rather than becoming more affected by gravity as it hits the ground and starting to bounce lower and lower, it actually starts to bounce higher and higher. This is because it's a tornado serve, so the rapid circular motion of the ball actually causes it to reverse its gravitational properties. So then once it hits the ground for the final time, the third bounce, that's when it achieves so much force that it actually is no longer affected by gravity. And it starts to float up above the player's head, which causes them to need to jump to get the ball. But wait, that's not all. Okay, the force of the tornado serve is such that the ball's bounces not only make it so the ball is not affected by gravity, it also warps the gravitational field in the immediate area, which is what allows the player to jump super high up in the air, as though it were the moon's gravity that were affecting them and not the Earth's. Thus, it allows them to jump up and smash the tornado serve once they understand its properties, which is why it takes Hiromi so long to figure it out. She has to learn about the properties of the tornado serve by watching Madame Butterfly.
Wow, that actually made a lot of sense. it what you just described make more sense than the whole show is. Oh my god! Good job.
It's so dumb.
All right, and then when we skip episodes 16 and 17, we go to episode 18.
Wait, we're just
where the-
skipping over them just like that?
I just gonna briefly mention the episode 18, like the whole point of the episode 18.
Okay.
Is that Hiromi learns the importance of anticipation.
What do you mean?
She just need to guess the ball, to anticipate
Oh, yes.
the ball before. So
Yeah.
that's the whole point.
Yeah. I actually, I thought I liked all three of these episodes personally.
All right.
To be serious for a moment.
All right, good.
But yes, episode 18, it was all geared towards bringing Hiromi to that one revelation that she needs to track the ball, and predict where it's going to go. Make sure she covers areas of the court that aren't covered because that's likely where it's going to be returned to.
All right.
Yeah, and it does take her too long to come to that realization, and the show kind of drags its feet in bringing her there. However, I do think it's an important thing for her to learn. Should have been explained to her, much earlier in her tennis career or whatever.
Yep.
Her coach should have informed her of this, or she should have been able to figure it out just logically.
Yep.
But that's the thing about anime, that like the characters, the development of a character, whether it's I don't know, like some kind of shonen series where they're gaining new powers one after another, or if it's a sports series where they're learning different aspects of the sport, like everything is very segmented. First a character will learn to do A, and then they'll come up against an opponent that can do B. So then they have to learn to do C in order to counter that. It is very broken up that way. Probably because anime was adapted from manga, like a lot of early anime that set the template for how the medium would develop afterwards. They were adapted from manga, which are segmented into chapters.
Yeah.
So I thought that as an adaptation of a chapter or a series of chapters that probably were in the Ace will Nirai manga, it worked pretty well.
All right. I do think that episode 18 functioned like a shonen show.
Yeah.
Of like how the main character just power up, like hit something difficult and then learn how to overcome that.
Right. Yeah.
Gain like new skills. How do you think about the Black Spice?
They're wearing sunglasses at like midnight.
Yeah, that's right. I was about to mention that.
How can they even see the ball?
They do it perfectly fine.
Especially since the ball is white instead of green for some reason.
Right, and oh my god.
Yeah, they're obviously ridiculous. They reminded me of like a villain from a mecha series, like with the sunglasses and the trench coat. They're both wearing trench coats at first before they take them off to reveal their tennis outfits, and the scarves that they have wrapped around their mouths. So they don't give away their identity.
Yep.
I think that character design was probably seen in a lot of mecha series before Aim for the Ace.
All right.
And yeah, it is very shonen-y. And to be honest, so were the previous episodes. Like their use of special attacks.
Right. That That's right.
Think about how many sports series have done something similar, like
Yeah.
Kuroko no Basuke, Prince of
Right.
Tennis. I know Inazuma
Yep.
11, the kids show.
IQ.
Does Haikyuu really have like names for its special attacks though?
Oh, name for special attack. Let's see. They don't name it especially, but yeah, I think I get your point.
Yeah, I mean I understand yours as well. Like Haikyuu does have like specific characters who are proficient in some areas, and so it becomes like
Right.
their
Yeah.
special move. So I guess Haikyuu is a good example of how you can see the lineage of sports anime that do have those very exaggerated sorts of special attacks and superpowers. Even that DNA has made its way into sports anime. You know, even modern ones. Um, and even like, but it's still going so strong that even some series that are produced now still have those like those special attacks with
Yep.
names and ridiculous animations and stuff.
Yep.
Except ping pong.
Yeah, except ping pong.
Ping pong is the best.
All right.
No bias.
Two point taken on that note. First is that despite all the things that we see, like it have like a shonen's element into it. This show is like a classic shoujo, which is really important. Which is I think really interesting to note. And second thing, maybe like all the joke that we just say, like the special attack, the name and all that, is that is like one of this show that influence to like the current shows.
Yeah. Oh,
Is that gonna be like the main influence?
is this show the main influence on like sports anime
Yep.
that came? I think it's probably one of the major ones. Like,
Jesus. Right.
there was a series in 1969, I think, called Attack Number One.
Right. Yep.
I know that was. I think that was probably the first really influential sports anime.
Sport show. Yep.
Yeah, and it was about volleyball. Funnily enough, it also had a red-haired main character. I think. So it's like Haikyuu, kind
Yep.
of. Haikyuu is just Attack Number One, but with guys. Because Attack Number One also had a female main character, as far as I know. I'm kind of like working off my memory here. I haven't actually seen Attack Number One, but I plan to at some point.
Right.
Anyways, I think Attack Number One is probably the trailblazer in terms of sports anime, but I wouldn't doubt that Aim for the Ace has more like a bigger legacy overall, just because of the Dazaki factor.
Yep.
So, I mean,
Right, I just-
yeah, you say that it's a classic shoujo, and that is true. I mean, the character designs are very shoujo, and they're very reminiscent of Dazaki's other works. Like, I think this series looks pretty similar to Rose of Versailles, in its character designs at least.
Right.
But yeah, it is structured pretty much like a shonen series or like a typical sports series, where you have the like you were saying before, you run up against a character who's more powerful than you are, and then you have to practice, and you keep falling down, you keep getting up, and eventually you develop your own technique to overcome them. It's just very I don't know, it's very Japanese in that way, like
Right.
constantly striving to improve yourself and to get stronger, to get better.
Yep.
So there
Alright.
you go.
Yep. All right. I just look at the anime of Attack Number One. It have like 104 episodes, and from 1969. Wow.
Yeah. Eventually I plan on, because I know that series is very significant in the history of anime. At least that's what I've read or what I've learned, what I've been told.
Right.
So I plan on watching it eventually, and maybe I'll only get through like the first 26 episodes or something. Who knows?
Right.
But
I will eventually get into this, but I want to watch Touch first before
yeah, I definitely want to watch Touch soon as well.
Yep. Go with these shows. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that watching Touch or even like watching Attack number one will not be as ridiculous and as fun, entertaining as watching M for the Ice.
Uh, Probably not. I mean, I'm curious. Like maybe Attack Number One is super dramatic. Maybe this wasn't just Dazaki's style, but it
Yeah,
was
maybe
anime style.
it's just like how the classic shoujo work.
Yeah, it could even be anime as a whole, like mecha
Right.
series, because that was a lot of what was being pumped out around this time. Maybe a lot of them used similarly ridiculous, overblown reactions to things and corny sounding, effects. Like this show's sound effects are really bad, at least by modern. They're just they're not modern. They're
Yep.
ancient. Um,
Just remember when one of the player like swinging hit their rackets, they're gonna be like the sound that really inappropriate. That
I actually like the sound that plays when
that's
people swing their rackets.
oh,
It
yeah
sounds like a
yeah
karate
yeah.
chop. Like
That's
a
right.
karate chop from a video game. Um, Honestly, it kind of reminds me of modern sound design. I said that it was ancient,
Yeah.
and it doesn't sound modern, but it reminds me of modern practices. Like, for example, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, kicking off the wave of like whenever somebody punches somebody else, there's the sound of like a
Yep.
gunshot instead of a punching sound.
Yep.
And like whenever there's an explosion or some kind of crash, there's like a very bass heavy, kind of crunchy sounding
But
effect that like rattles your headphones.
yeah, but that's the thing because JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is more like a retro. So it's more like reminding the old style of the of the old school style.
Right.
So I think they get that from one of these classic shows.
Perhaps, yeah. But yeah, I mean that makes sense. But what JoJo did in its sound production was like then taken up by other way more modern series. I hear that sort of thing across like a variety of anime, like Fire Force, for example, which is airing right
Yep.
now. They do that. There's so many like really deep, bassy, rumbly sound effects, and like uh, kind of metallic, industrial um, sounds when characters are just like I don't know hitting each other or even just I don't know like when there's any sort of conflict or any sort of
Yep.
when two characters are going at it, there's all sorts of wildly inappropriate sound effects going on, and I don't like it.
Right.
So I think maybe Aim for the Ace is to blame for that as well. Maybe it just started all the wrong trends and set anime down the wrong path.
Well, one thing some of the scene I particularly like in Aphrodite though is when Hirome is staying in her room and there's like a cat with her.
Yeah,
Like
Goemon.
those, yeah, those scenes are so surreal.
Yeah,
Actually, very well animated. Like compared to like the actual match, the actual tennis match.
It's funny that you say that because I actually thought the animation in these 3 episodes was the best that the show has had so far. Well, actually,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I
Well,
should correct myself. In episode
right.
18, which is the one where she plays against the Black Spies, there's
Yep.
some
Yep.
really bad animation in that episode. Do you
Right.
remember like
Yep.
when she's running the baseline? It looks like all the in between frames are missing, and it's only the key frames.
Right. Right. Right.
That was terrible. But
Yep.
in episode 16 and 17, I mean, obviously there's a ton of reused animation because this was made in the early 70s. And once they animate someone doing the tornado serve, you're just going to reuse that a zillion times.
Right.
Um, but I got the sense from these episodes, more than any episodes previously, that this was like a four-man, uh, that there were four people on the
Yep.
court and that they were all interacting. Like there was a clear back and forth to the volley of each point.
Right.
Um, so I thought there were some improvements.
Yeah, but looking at the cat movement, I think that it's had like a lot of movement and like expression compared to like the rest of the show.
Well, it's a cute animal. You know,
Yeah.
they probably have. Anime is obviously made very differently now compared to how it was once produced. But I think that the mindset of like giving different animators who have different talents specific scenes to work on, I think that is like elemental to anime production. I think that's been going on for like 50 years probably.
Right.
So when it comes to the cat Goemon in those scenes, I think there's probably someone who is specifically working on those cuts, which is why it feels different. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I
Right.
and I do agree that those scenes have like a kind of surreality to them because of the way that the backgrounds function. You just see a pattern behind her that's meant
Mhm.
to evoke a specific I don't know, feeling perhaps, rather than place her in a physical space.
Mhm.
Um, it's kind of like her private sanctuary.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
it's
Yep.
less her room and more a place where she can go, where the show can put her, for her to air out her thoughts. You know,
Mhm.
so yeah, I like those scenes. I think they're great, and I think these 3 episodes were pretty good. I mean, I was happy with them. Uh, as much ridiculous crap as they contain. I like this show.
All right.
So I like it more than Hoshiano Sora. It tells a clear story, and though the story is plagued with like logical inconsistencies, I suppose that's better
Mm-hmm.
than like inconsistencies in narrative design, which is what I think that show suffers from. Whereas this one does tell a very clear tale of like, you know, self improvement, like like athletic improvement.
Right.
Um, I can at least appreciate that about it.
All right. And I actually enjoy the characters much more than they were previous episodes.
Oh, really?
I like yeah. Hiromi was fine in these 3 episodes, but I was a bit disappointed at Ojo Fuji for the last few episodes. But in this one, when she regarded Hiromi as her partner, I think
Right.
it's better.
Right. And also, Otowa's character has been redeemed. We didn't talk about that at
Right.
all, but in the previous 3 episodes, she like comes around to
S-
Hiromi's side, kind of.
Yep. She's the good girl now.
Yeah, and I
She's like
honestly,
best friend.
I've already forgotten what caused that change. Um,
Uh, all right. It was about the
oh, she's
uh
sick.
yeah, she's sick, and then like in one of the party, the coach say something about like if you really love tennis, just try your best, and
Right.
some stuff like that.
That
Like directed
really
to her.
that really poorly written and executed speech.
I know. I
which
know.
she hears and she's like, "Oh my god, my life has changed forever now." Yeah, so I wasn't a fan of that, the way they kind of turned her character around. But
Right.
now that she is like Hiromi's ally, and we'll be more patient with her and we'll practice with her, um, I'm enjoying the way she exists now in the
That's
series,
right.
even though I don't
Yep.
think the show did a very good job in getting her there.
I I still think that Munakawa, the coach, is still very badly written characters.
Yeah, yeah,
Hopefully, he will
agree.
improve.
Um, he's just a brick wall,
Yep. Yep.
He's meant to be somebody who Hiromi can hate as well as uh, obey and like look up to. I guess. Yeah, he sucks. But then so did the coach in Die Buster, uh, or
Right.
I'm sorry, Gunbuster.
Yep.
Um, so obvious like they were spot on, in their writing of that character in Die Buster, because they made him just as stupid and hateable as this guy.
Yep. All right. Is there any other note that you have on M48?
No, I think we're done. I mean, it's past midnight for you over there, so we
Right.
can wrap this up.
Oh, yep. Let's just wrapping up now. So next week we're gonna see like the conclusion of most of our shows. Basically just Hoshiano Shura and Vista actually.
Right.
And
Because Chihayafuru and Mugen no Junin are two core.
yeah, that's right. But for like the rest of the anime of the season, there's gonna be like the finale of many of them as well.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about some of those very soon because, and this is actually something we haven't discussed previously, but so like you said, next week we're gonna be doing another seasonal episode, but I think the week after that, which is gonna
Yep.
fall on, let me pull up my calendar in like 1 second. January 5th, that episode is I
Uh-huh.
think gonna be our Anime of the Year 2019 episode,
All right.
and then January 12th. The week after that, I think would be our first impressions of
Yep.
winter 2020.
Right.
So we do have like a normal episode next week, but then the 2 weeks after that I think are going to be like special episodes because we got to get those done as well.
All right. All right. Cool.
At least that's the plan. You know, we can discuss that before we
Yep.
get there.
All right. So see you guys back next week.
See you later.